Annalee, thank you so much for coming on today.
Well, thank you, Josh. I consider it a privilege.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I have been doing what I do for the last 28 years. I don't have a job, haven't had one in a long, long time. I have a mission, and I am president and founder of Mainstay Financial Group. We are an independent fiduciary financial advisory firm. We have based the entire firm on education, because my sincere belief is that if I can educate you, I can enlighten you. If I can enlighten you, I can empower you to make correct decisions. And that's why I consider it a privilege to be with you today, because this is another opportunity to educate people.
Definitely. So we want to talk a little bit today about how financial prospects might change once we hit retirement, once we're over 65. So how does tax preparation change after we hit retirement?
Well, ironically, sometimes it changes drastically, but the majority of time it doesn't change at all. What has happened over the years, we have invested over and over and over into IRAs, 401ks. Reasons people have done that is to get a tax break. Now, that's great when you get a tax break up front. The bad side of it is all these years, all that money that you put in, all the interest that you've accumulated, when it comes out, it's going to create a taxable event. And it is considered earned income. So, you know, people say, oh, I don't want to do the Roth, I won't get a tax break. No, you won't, but in the long run, you'll come out much, much better. Ed Slott, who I consider the guru of IRAs and 401ks, he always puts it this way: would you rather pay taxes on the seed or on the harvest? So, see, with the Roth, we pay tax on the seed, but we don't pay tax on the harvest. So what happens when people get to retirement age, the majority of money that most people have in today's world is what we call qualified money, money that has never had taxes paid on it. So they're either taking that out to live on, or when they hit that magic age of 70 and a half and must take a required minimum distribution, you add that to the pensions, to part of the Social Security, and all of a sudden, guess what? They're in the same tax bracket or sometimes a higher tax bracket.
Wow. I know a lot of senior citizens are probably thinking about passing along some of their wealth to their children or their grandchildren.
Sure.
Is it preferable to pass along assets like stocks and bonds and land, or just cold hard cash?
Cold hard cash. That's a very debatable question. And when I talk to my clients, my potential clients, one of the things I always tell them, we have to work as a team. You have to have the individual, your financial advisor, your tax person, and your attorney all working together. Because if you don't, very often what one does will negate what another has done. One of the attorneys that I work with has said in public, she said, you know, Annalee, you probably do as much or more estate planning than I do, because I set up beneficiaries, and beneficiaries will trump a will or a trust. So we want to make sure we're all on the same page. Now, what to leave? If today's world, and I always have to say that because tax tables, as we know, are changing constantly. The laws are changing constantly. Right now, we still have the privilege of what's called a step up in basis. So if I buy a stock, I buy a mutual fund, I buy my home, and let's just say it's a home, and I paid, and this has happened a lot on the beach, I paid $100,000 for it, and when I pass away, it's worth $500,000. Well, if I leave that to you, you get a step up in basis. Your tax basis starts at $500,000, not at $100,000. Same thing happens with stocks. Same thing happens with mutual funds. So sometimes leaving a step up in basis is a very good thing. However, If I'm living in my home, I'm not going to be selling that. That's not live-on money. If I have an IRA that I don't want to touch till 70 and a half, I'm going to have to start using some of my mutual funds and my stock. I get a better tax break using those because now I get a long-term capital gain, which is a better tax than an individual income tax. Again, the reason why you got to work with a team, because you got to pull the tax professional in to say, all right, let's look at this. If I do this, am I going to pop this person into another tax bracket? What can I do to avoid that?
Gotcha. How does having a full or part-time job, for those who decide to continue working after 65, how does that affect Social Security benefits?
Yeah. That all is going to depend upon age. Most people today, what we call full retirement age, FRA, is 66 years of age. Okay. Now, if I retire at 66 and I collect Social Security benefits at full retirement age, I can make as much money as I want. I can make $200,000 a year. Nobody's going to tell me anything. Now, between 62, 66, you've got a gap in there. So the earlier I start, let's say I start taking Social Security, let's just take 62. Well, the government says, and this is according to the chart we have now, this chart has not yet been approved for 2017, but if I make more than $16,920, and you break that down to monthly, if I make more than that, I've got to give some of my Social Security back. Now, to me, that doesn't make good sense. Unless you really need it, it's going to change your style of living. Sometimes you're a little bit better to stay on that 16,920 or under and collect the full Social Security than to make a little bit more money and have to give most of the Social Security back.
Okay.
Following?
Yes.
Now, I get to be full retirement age, 66. If I'm working that year, I can now, according to this year's tax tables, which again I have to say are not yet official, I can make $44,880 without having to pay anything back.
Okay.
You see? So you've got to know the numbers, how to work with those numbers, and this is why I always tell people, you have to have a plan. You got to run the numbers. Run the numbers. The numbers will tell you what's best.
Definitely. Unfortunately, we're pretty much out of time.
Already?
I know. But we've learned a lot, and I
Good.
appreciate your advice. And if people need more advice, how can they contact you?
They can call us at 437-3127, visit our website, make an appointment either way, or answer questions, or if they want some information on the tax tables, I'll be glad to give them a copy.
Excellent. Thank you so much for your time, Annalee.
Thank you, Josh. I appreciate it.